Good evening, golf fans. Welcome back to the FanTeam Daily Fantasy Sport Golf Show. I am joined fresh off the driving range today by Mr. Jack Humphrey, hitting some absolute bombs by the look of things and getting a little bit peed off with some of the noise you were having to deal with as well by the looks of things. Very, very angry face from what I could see.
I don't like kids making noise on the driving range. It's not my sort of thing. I believe if you go to a golf club, you have to show a bit of etiquette. I'm a bit old-fashioned like that on a golf club. So they was annoying me. That's why I had my headphones in. But I am so excited. It is Masters week, and it is like Christmas Day. The whole week, basically. This week is just like Christmas Day every day.
I'm gutted that you didn't let the film roll, to be honest, when you went and cut the film off, because I thought we were going to get a Will Smith Oscars slap at the driving range, which would have been an absolutely perfect start to Masters week.
I think my death stare was enough.
What made me laugh even more is you actually had headphones in, so it's like, take the hint, lads. Like I'm actually trying to drone you out, and you're still doing my head in.
Yeah.
I am also joined by Mr. Mark Ferguson, here to try and win his first green jacket this week. How are you doing, Mark?
Very good. On a bit of a heater at the moment, so very happy.
Yeah, no, you had a very good week, didn't you?
I did. Another couple of top 10 finishes and stuff. Did quite well in that Masters Monster leaderboard contest.
Yeah.
So yeah, very pleased with that. So let's hope it continues.
Yeah, well, we'll do a little bit of a review of last week, guys, before we move on to the season long, and then before we get to the main event, which of course is the Masters at Augusta. But yeah, this past week to cut to the chase on that, it was a bit of a break-even week for me. I had a few lineups, I think 4 lineups in the cash on the mini. I had a lineup in the cash on the main, but it wasn't anything substantial. But I'm more than broke even for the week, which I was quite happy with. Jack, you were basically one shot on target, 1 goal, I think.
Yeah, it was 100%. I made some money. I only put one lineup in just because I literally ran out of time on Thursday. Time I'd done my season long stuff and things like that. I had a very busy week last week. And the time I got to it, there's like no space left in the tournament itself. So I got one line in, and thankfully, and yeah, it cashed. So we take it. It's 100%. It's profit, and I am very interested when we get onto it in a minute. Our season long team, we've moved up a significant amount over the last 2 weeks, and we'll get into it a little bit more in a minute. But I've really enjoyed the season long game the last couple of weeks, just sort of breaking it down, studying who's going to play what course and what tournament, and yeah, we're doing well in that.
Yeah, Mark, you had a flyer. Tell us more.
Yeah. By the way, I think Jack is the most knowledgeable person in the world on who's playing what tournaments for the next sort of 4 or 5 weeks. I don't think anybody in the world keeps up with it like Jack does. We'll look at your tracker later when we're doing season long, which is amazing free resource for people. And knowing how much time, me and Nick know how much time Jack puts into it as well. Absolutely astounding. Yeah, another good week. Again, golf is a funny old DFS sport, isn't it? I think by the end of Friday, I wasn't really anywhere particularly. I had 1 6 of 6 through, but I wasn't particularly looking that good. Then ended up with the top 10. I even had a player matchup come in, a 2-leg affair, because Abraham Answer dropped out, but he would have beaten DeChambeau, I think, just by turning up at the tee, because DeChambeau only got 29 points or something. I think so. Yeah, I was a bit gutted about that, but overall good week. Good week.
Yeah,
another good showdown result as well on the 4th day.
Yeah, I think I always look for your 2 names on the leaderboard, obviously, because we do this show primarily. And I looked, and you were sort of there and thereabouts, Mark, and then it looked like you dropped off. And then when I saw your name on the leaderboard the last day, I was like, my God, where's Mark come from? Mark absolutely flying up the leaderboard there, kept that one quiet. But no, it's another good week of cashing on the show. I don't know how our pod lineups got on last week. I did enter them in. But I don't know if any of them cashed. I had 4 cashing lineups in the mini, So I don't know if one of them was the pod lineup or not.
I think there must have been some, because I also had 4 cashing in the mini, so I suspect two of them at least were probably pod ones.
Yeah, we'll claim that then. We'll claim that we've had another cash there on the pod lineup. So yeah, we got a pack show from this point onwards. Before we do move on to the season long, I'm going to have my Stephen A. Smith moment here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Put the camera on me. I want to see eyes. All eyes.
I'm going to make a cup of tea, shall I? Yeah. I'm going to make a cup of tea.
Oh, look, I can mute him. Mute Mike.
In all fairness, Nick deserves his moment.
I do. Yeah. I do. So I tweeted out earlier a couple of numbers for anyone that was intrigued as to what those numbers were. Let me enlighten you as to what some of those numbers were. So the first number I tweeted out was 35. So that was the points scored by Rory McIlroy missing the cut last week at 34% ownership. Hideki Matsuyama, withdraw. Patton Kaziri, we all liked Patton Kaziri last week. 22.25 points scored, missed cut, 25% owned. Bryson DeChambeau, 29.25 points, missed cut, 10% owned. Another couple of popular golfers on there as well. Ricky Fowler, 25.75 points scored, missed cut again.
I mean, that 25% of people deserved all they got for picking Ricky Fowler, to be honest. Yeah, you deserve that miscut. Sorry.
Poulter, miscut. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the golfers that missed cut last week. A couple of the golfers that actually made cut but didn't necessarily make a huge splash, like Jordan Spieth, for example. We said on the show ourselves that we really like Jordan Spieth. Course fit, good history there.
That's a bit strong, really. Like,
I'll downgrade the really to just a like. But 70.75 points scored for Jordan Spieth, finishes on 5 under. Where am I going with this, you ask? Where I'm going with it is, I don't want to hear any more about Luke List. I do not want to hear it. Right? Okay. I am not playing Luke List this week at the Masters. You will be pleased to hear.
Why?
And I'm sure many people will get on my back about that. And he does actually come out on the model again, quite high in the top 20. But I'm not playing Luke List this week. However, I did play Luke List last week in some lineups. We even had a dispute on the show about a pod team that we put together that had Luke List in it. Luke List made the cut. We got 72 holes out of Luke List last week. Yes, he only finished 2 under. Yes, he finished with 60.75 points. But that is double what most of those golfers are that I've just mentioned to you, with the same or less ownership. So I don't want to hear any more about Luke List. I don't want to hear it, because when I played him, he made the cut. I told people he goes and makes the cut. I do not care if he goes and wins it. He gave me 72 holes, and that is all I'm going to say on the matter. He's not in your lineups this week. I don't care. He was in my lineup last week. I cashed. He made the cut. End of.
Do you feel better?
Feel like a weight has lifted.
Right,
I've never known you so serious, Nick. Unbelievable.
We've just lost all our listeners now as well.
Yeah, exactly. The number's gone down. It's literally dropped.
Don't worry about that. The ratings are going up. Trust me. Yeah, that is like I can take it, but there comes a point where you've got to turn around and say, do you know what? Luke List made the cut. Nick was right. I'm sorry. I played Rory McIlroy. Do you know what? I had Rory McIlroy in lineups myself last week, but don't come at me for playing Luke List. If you guys are going to be playing people like McIlroy missed the cut, don't want to hear it. I'll hear it from the people that made 6 out of 6 through the cut line.
What was funny was that you got abuse from places you didn't even expect it to, like the 5-yard rush WhatsApp group.
Yeah, just like, I mean, you can come at me, but when I'm cashing, you know, and walking that walk, and that's happened several weeks. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Can you guys? We got a question there. Can you guys recommend some golfers to be the top from their country if you can, looking to do a country ACCA at the Masters? Well, I'm sure we're going to run down the players in a minute anyway. I'm sure you can take a
interesting little concept.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that I've got Luke List off my chest, I think it's probably a good time to. Well, before we do move on, do you want your moment in the spotlight, Mark? By all means, there you go. The mic is yours.
Do you know what the funniest thing is about this as well? Mark put something about this in the Discord, and then he was 4 under after day one. And then I said, oh, yeah, I can't wait for him to shoot 4 over on Saturday. What did he go and do? He goes and makes the number on the cut as well, Smotherman. So fair play to Mark. He got him through, but he literally shot 4 over on the Friday.
The difference is my Smotherman fans, they're a lot more cheerful about this stuff than your Luke List fans.
Yeah. It never really gets mentioned. You people don't come at you, but there you go.
About Smotherman, no, and he was literally last, I think, 2 weeks ago when I recommended him. He was my number 1 golfer, wasn't he? And he came last. So it's quite funny. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah,
but I don't think this is going to be an issue this week.
No, I don't think it will, because I'm certainly not playing him, and Smotherman isn't even playable this week, so it's no problem for either of us. But people you can keep coming at me whenever I next play Luke List. You can come at me, and I will be reminding you of where I am after the Sunday, like I do every week. People keep coming at me on Thursdays. Don't want to hear it. Come back at me on Sunday. I'm going full heel turn here, Jack. I'm doing it.
This is like Hogan and the NWO.
Nick at Bash at the Beach here. Here he comes. Down the aisle. Here's a sledgehammer to Randy Macho Man Savage. Bang over the head. That's it. They hit the ultimate heel turn. The leg drop.
Right. Before I get myself into any more trouble, I think we will cover off the season game then. So, like you said, Jack, we've moved up 400 spots with this team. So, one thing I think it shows, since we did wildcard this 2 weeks ago, it actually shows how quickly you can progress in golf season long. This is running till August, and within the space of 2 weeks, we've jumped up 400 spots, which is almost half the entries in the contest. So, you know, we've done quite well with this over the last 2 weeks, but we've got a bit of a conundrum this week. What do? We've got 2 free transfers. Apparently, one of these is already booked in before the show. I'm here working away until 9 p.m. Mark and Jack decided already who's coming in, but I'll leave the floor open to them to expand on that.
Right, so me and Mark were talking. I've got the tracker open in front of me. Bear in mind, this tracker is on the FanTeam blog. It's free to use. It's on the main page now. I've got it stuck onto the main page. So just head over there. You'll find it there. Abraham Answer and Webb Simpson were 2 players we were looking at. Abraham Answer plays the next 3 weeks, but there is a bit of a concern there because Answer withdrew from the Valero Texas Open, and apparently he had a lot of family at that event beforehand, and that is actually Answer's local course. He lives in that area. That is his local course. So he would have been sleeping in his own bed and things like that, been in his own house. So that withdrawal is a little bit weird. I know he's played a lot of golf, but I think that's injury related somehow. So me and Mark, like someone else that's been injured, but has been playing a little bit better since he's come back from the injury. It doesn't look back to full Webb Simpson, but he looks over the injury now. And the reason we're picking Webb Simpson is he plays the Masters, he plays the RBC Heritage the week after. He did play the Mexico Open last year. Hasn't committed as of yet. Only 3 players have committed to the Mexico Open at the minute. I don't know what's going on with that event, but no one's really committing to it. I can just quickly tell you the players that have committed to it. John Rahm, Abraham Answer, and Carlos Ortiz are the only ones that are committed to that. And then Webb Simpson then does play the Wells Fargo after the Mexico Open. So there's the potential for 4 weeks there because he did play the Mexico Open last year. But if not, we're going to get use of Webb Simpson for 3 of the next 4 weeks. So me and Mark liked him for that reason and thought it was an easy choice over Answer, who we've got some injury concerns over now.
Nick, you had the, I don't know what you're moaning about. You had the deciding vote. The fact it was already 2-0 was irrelevant. You had the deciding vote.
Well, it was a tap-in by me.
Yeah.
Go on then. I'll agree with Webb Simpson. No, I like that pick. I do like that pick, and I like the logic behind it. The question is, of the players that we've got in, who are we taking out in favour of Webb Simpson?
Right, so I want to leave Graham McDowell in. I know he's been... I know he's been a bit injured, but he plays the RBC Heritage, so we've got a player there we know that's in that field. I believe we got Armour and Damon in this team. Armour's never played the RBC Heritage, but Damon has played it the last 2 years. So for me, I think we take out Armour and put in Webb Simpson there, and then obviously move him up into our main roster for the week.
Yep. Looks good to
and
me.
then it's up to you if you want, because we rolled the transfer last week, so theoretically we could make another transfer this week, or we could roll with Hudson Swafford as our underdog this week. I don't like that at all, but I don't actually necessarily think, like, even if Swafford misses the cut, I am quite confident with the other 5 golfers we've got that they'll make the cut. So I don't think it's like we rolled with, we only had 5 that made the cut last week, and we moved up like another 200 places last week. So I don't think having 5 making the cut is all that bad. So I'm inclined just to leave it with that one transfer this week, and then see what happens when we get more of that Mexico Open field, because that's the one that worries me at the minute.
Well, I've just had a look on the tracker as you were saying that. I think it's actually Armour that played the Heritage last year, because Joel Diamond's not down as playing it last year. So I'm wondering if it's him that is the one that hasn't played it before, and we need to take him out.
2 sets. I'm just getting it. No, yeah, you are right. Yeah, sorry, that's my mistake.
Which, to be fair though, that is probably more of a help for us, because we've got 3.2 in the bank. If Joel Diamond did come out and we did put in Webb Simpson, even if we weren't to make another transfer this week per se, it still gives us 1.4 in the bank for next week. So if we then have a bit more information about who'll be playing in the following weeks at the Heritage, at Mexico, then it just gives us a little bit of time to then make a decision on it. Like you said, I think we just have to pretty much settle on Swafford coming in as the underdog this week, and just hoping that the other 5 that we've got, that there's enough quality there to get 5 out of 6 through the cut line. The question is, fellas, who do we captain out of this team? It's got to be Scheffler, surely.
It's Scheffler, Scheffler for me.
Definitely Scheffler. The other thing to bear in mind about this is, about reason not to use another transfer, is that this will be a lower scoring event, fantasy-wise, than the ones coming up. So better to save that transfer for another week. And
to be fair, with them 5, like Swafford could very well make the cut. 50 golfers will make the cut here. You've got 91 in the field. There's 20 in this field that are either amateurs or way past their best. They're not going to make the cut. So there's only 30 other golfers, something like that. Well, not even that, is it?
It's 20 others or something like that.
Yeah, it's like 20 other golfers that are not going to make the cut. So Swafford does have a chance to make the cut. I personally don't think he will. I think he's going to really struggle on the greens around this place. This is one of the hardest places to putt on. I'm going to get into that in a minute, but there is that chance that he does make the cut.
It's a really strong looking lineup, though. The other 5.
Oh no, I like it. And just one more important thing before we move on to the Masters. Don't be scared. I think that's what a lot of people are falling into a trap with this season long, about leaving money on the table. Do not be scared to leave money on the table. Just get the guys in that are going to play.
Yeah.
We by the way, we had a question on the season long on Twitter earlier today, from Kay Todorov, saying, "Who is your favourite pick up to 10 million long term from this week on? I'm leaning towards Henley right now, but want to hear your thoughts.
I can pull up the tracker if you want.
I think that's a good idea.
So let me grab the old tracker up.
Anyone at 10 million, we're basically looking Paul Casey and below, aren't we?
I'm going to pull the tracker up now, Nick.
Cool.
So yeah, we're looking at your Paul Casey or below. So you got Kevin Na, Matthew Wolf, Brian Palmer, Tyrell Hatton. You like Tyrell Hatton, didn't you, Nick?
Yeah, I mentioned Tyrell Hatton. Only he's been in pretty good form recently. Yeah, he does have his petulant moments, and he can let one bad hole ruin his round. But he has played well recently.
Yeah, and he did play the Mexico Open last year. Did Todorov like Henley? Did you say
Henley? Yeah, he said Henley.
Yes, yeah. I don't like that. He plays the Masters, fine. He played the RBC Heritage last year. Doesn't really mean a lot, that event. I mean, he might turn up, he might not, who knows. Never played the Mexico Open. Obviously, he played the Wells Fargo the year before. Never played the Byron Nelson. And he's not in the field. Like this PGA Championship, there's golfers already confirmed in this field. This is golf's second major for people that are not familiar with golf, the PGA Championship. Russell Henley is not in this field as of yet, and that will be based on rankings, FedEx Cup points. There's a load of stuff that goes into that, but at the minute he's not in that field. So no, I don't like Russell Henley.
What about Shane Lowry?
Yeah, you're on my.
You're just thinking the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, Shane Lowry is the one for me. You get the discount on Russell Henley. I know it's only 0.2 million, but you've got the Masters, the Heritage, and then he's played them other two events there. The thing is, another important thing to note as well, everyone. There is a break in between the RBC Heritage and Mexico Open. Within this, there's like a week's break here, so they do a thing in New Orleans, a tournament there called the Zurich Open. It's like a doubles event, but it's not included in the season-long game. But yeah, I like Lowry there. Obviously, that break there is important as well, because technically, if there wasn't that break and he did play these other two events, he'd be playing 4 weeks straight. But he's got that break already in the middle there. So yes, I like Lowry, and he's in the field for the PGA Championship already.
Yeah, he's he's 3 out of 3 on cuts. I think anything before the Honda, was he playing? He was over in Dubai, wasn't he? So. We didn't get the golf at the start of the PGA season for him, but then since then, that's 3 very good finishes that he's had there. And I've just had a look at his bogey or worse percentage. 9.22% is very low. That is very low. So I think that's a good golfer to target. Yeah, Shane Lowry.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement with that.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, I've actually bet him for the Masters.
Oh, no then.
So to be honest with you, I think he's the play there where you're not just picking him because he's playing. I think you've got a chance with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate that. So yeah, that's the season long. Obviously, if there's any other changes that we were to make, we do only tend to make changes to this team just before the event. And the reason that we do that, and I think it's important to let people know, is we've seen in recent weeks withdrawals just before the event starts. Unfortunately, there's been withdrawals during the event, Hideki. But it's probably best just to wait as close as possible to the event starting, so that you know who's actually going to be in the field. I don't think it'll be as much of an issue this week, because I think everyone that's going to be there, because it is such a big event, that they're going to give themselves every chance of playing, even if there's a little bit of a niggling injury. But yeah, I think it's always just worth just holding off as long as possible, just in case you do bring someone in and you get stung with the withdrawal card. We've seen it happen in previous weeks. So just be patient. The thing is, there's no price changes in this, so you're not you're not at an advantage by bringing someone in on a Monday or a Tuesday. It really doesn't matter. As long as you can get logged on a Thursday morning or even a Wednesday night, get yourself doing your transfers then instead. Before we do move on to the Masters, Jack, anything that you want to tell the listeners about the fantastic offer that we've got with Fantasy National?
Yeah, so you can head on over to Fantasy National Golf Club. It's the leading stats provider for all golf fantasy content, and you can get 20% off any of their packages. So there's a weekly package, a monthly package, and a yearly package there. Get 20% off by going to fantasynational.com/FanTeam. It's a great product. The three of us use it. I know a number of other people have signed up to it now. Great product, and literally the stats that you gain off of this site you cannot find anywhere else. It's unbelievable. It's a great offer. As I say, just head over to fantasynational.com/FanTeam.
Yeah. Anyone that's actually watching the feed live or watching it back, that link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen now. Yeah. We'll move on to Augusta. So, where do I start with this course? I don't start anywhere with it because I'm leaving it to Jack. I don't want to upset Jack. So
he always fell off his chair, Jack. Then he was like,
he's actually letting me do it this week.
you only had one job as well, Jack, was to let you do that, and then you were like, he's not going to do it.
So, the Masters, Augusta National Golf Club, is the mecca of all golf clubs. Any golf fan would love to play this place. Unfortunately, you can't. You have to be a member or you have to win it and you become a lifetime member here. It's not an easy golf club to get on for the general public, but founded in 1934 by Bobby Jones and Alistair McKenzie. It was redesigned in the early 2000s by Tom Fazio. All the holes here are actually named after trees or shrubs, and that is because it is on a plant nursery. It's a par 72. It's 7,425 yards long, and it features bent grass greens. These greens used to be Bermuda, but when Tom Fazio redesigned it, they become bent grass greens here. The hardest hole here is number 11, which is a par 4. It's 505 yards long, and it gives up about 30.9% of bogeys to the field. That hole is the beginning of a free stretch holes on the course known as Amen Corner. The championship is normally won or lost around those three holes. So you get that hole 11, which is a par 4. You get hole 12, which is the famous one. It's the short par 3. It's 155 yards long. Jack Nicklaus' famous words: "Just put it in the center of the green." That is easier said than done. The wind swells up around that place. It confuses golfers to no end. I've seen golfers hit a 6-iron off of that tee box, and I've seen them hit a lob wedge off of it. It confuses the golfers to no end, and many championships and meltdowns have happened on that hole. The stretch actually ends with the easiest hole on the golf course, which is hole 13. It's a par 5 and it's 510 yards long. Gives up about 40% of birdies to the field. This hole is quite famous as well. Bubba Watson actually drove over the trees on this hole and left himself a chip in on a par 5. And that's when he won his second green jacket that year. So it has to be respected. The tee box has been moved back even further this year. It has to be respected, that hole. But you need to be making birdie there if you're going to win the championship, really. The whole golf course as a whole, there's 4 par 5s, 10 par 4s, and 4 par 3s. It is a beautiful, beautiful golf course. I can't state that enough. Just go and watch clips of it on YouTube, and you're going to see enough of it this week on the telly. It is the most beautiful golf course in the world.
Yeah. Despite some of Sky's issues with coverage, one thing that they do get right, which I really like about this event, is they do, I think, usually a red button where it is just, you can watch the golf at Amen Corner, which is just brilliant to watch. But yeah, it's very, very exciting times. It's felt like a long time coming, this, and I know you've been absolutely buzzing for it, Jack. So I thought it would be cruel of me to not give you that moment there to let the listeners and viewers know about this magnificent course. Past winners in the last couple of years, so Matsuyama and Dustin Johnson, both in 2021, because obviously we had obviously COVID happening in 2020. Tiger back in 2019. A name we haven't mentioned thus far this year.
The greatest golfer ever, and he's going to be in the field this week. So just watch Tiger.
Patrick Reed in 2018 and Sergio Garcia in 2017. Interested to hear what your key stat metrics are this week, fellas, because normally I have about 4 or 5 on my list. This week I feel like I've got 8. And I can't decide on the weighting of those 8. Only that I really approach is probably the top one for me, but everything else then is feeling quite balanced. So, Jack, kick us off with your stat metric.
Yeah, so mine is strokes gained on approach. Again, it does feel like we mention that every time we come on the podcast, doesn't it? But you need to be your approach play here has to be just excellent, because the runoffs around these greens, it's a place where it can be very cruel. You can hit a great shot and it can put you in a lot of trouble. Sometimes you have to be really accurate and dialed in with your irons. So strokes gained approach is heavily on my mind this week, Nick. I'm a bit similar to you. I've got I posted something on Twitter earlier with my model. I've got everything within it. I actually think strokes gained on par 5s is really important around this place. There's 4 of them. 3 of them are birdie holes. So you have to get the birdies on those holes, really, if you're going to win this championship. I've got some other bits and pieces in there. I've got 3 putt avoidance, good driving. I've got strokes gained on the par 4. Just that's quite low though. Strokes gained around the green. Again, if you're going to miss this around these greens, go into the runoffs and that, you have to know where to miss as well. That's the key thing. Hole 11's a prime example of that. It's a par 4. There's a big like pond lake thing on the left side of the green. You'll see a lot of golfers bail out to the right with the second shot in, because it's so hard to hit the green. So you're around the green play is going to have to be very, very good here. I've got a little bit in strokes gained in total, bogey avoidance, and fairways gained. That is pretty much my model this week. There's a lot within it, but it's a golf course that you have to respect. And another thing, it's not stat based, but I just think knowledge around this place is key. You have to. The last rookie that ever won here was in 1978. No rookies do not win here. It's not a place for rookies. The outlier was last year with Zalatoris. He comes second, and that was his first time playing it. But it is not a place that's kind to rookies normally.
Yeah. I think this over any course we'll speak about this year, I feel like course history is most important at Augusta, because like you said, Jack, I think you want players playing here that know the way around the place, that know exactly where they need the ball to be, they know where they're looking at on their approach, they know what parts of the green to aim for. I think it is really important this week that we've said course history in the past, but to actually the golfers that navigate this course well, one that comes to mind for me is, and despite him not being in fantastic form at the moment, but I know Justin Rose normally goes well round this course.
It's 17 times he's played Augusta. He's made the cut 16 times.
Yeah, and I think what you've got to remember when you're building your lineups is, can Justin Rose go on and win the Masters? Yeah, potentially he can, but there's probably a handful of golfers that you would bet money on that will win this event this week. What you've got to remember then throughout the rest of your lineups is you want ideally 6 out of 6 over the line playing golf on Saturday and Sunday. So those are your guys to maybe target, the likes of Justin Rose. I think Paul Casey's not had a bad history here as well. I was looking at a few, but Mark, key stats for you this week. Anything different to what Jack has mentioned?
I've got driving distance in there as well, which hasn't been. You don't have to be that accurate off the tee here because the fairways are pretty wide, and even the rough isn't. Yeah, the rough isn't even that bad. I've also got I've specifically put approach over 200 yards as well, and par 5 scoring is important because that's where you make obviously you actually score and get your you move up the leaderboard and stuff. But par 4 scoring is important as well, just to keep you there or thereabouts. And birdie or better. But other than that, all the usual stuff. I've done a very balanced build in terms of around the green and putting and approach. So sort of made my own tee to green model this week, effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with the par 5s here, they're I think certainly the 13th, for example, most of the field should be on the green in 2 there as well on the 15th. So I think par 5 scoring definitely feeds in this week, but I think the par 4 scoring and, like you said, Jack, like bogey avoidance and 3-putt or less ideally for those scoring on them par 5s, because these greens are fast. So what you'll hear about a lot in the build up to this is, like Tiger, for example, had his practice round yesterday and apparently just wasn't really lining up the putts very well, but was doing it purposely because what he was focusing more on was the lag on the green, because you've got to get the right pace on these balls when you put in on these fast, speedy greens. So, I think some of those are definitely worth considering if you are using something like Fantasy National. All those metrics are on there. You can build your custom model, and that's exactly what we do every week, which is why that's a fantastic tool. But no, interesting and good to hear that the stuff that you guys are looking at are the same kind of things I'm looking at as well. I don't think there's anything different for me. I think greens in regulation gained was one of the other stats that I'd thrown in as well. But on the whole, I think we're all singing a very similar hymn sheet. So I've no idea why Tony Finau's so high on my model, but we'll find that out as we go through the golfers this week. So what a packed field we've got. We probably won't see a better field this year. We'll kick off then. Jon Rahm, who is no longer world number 1, at the top of the pricing, 21.9. Scheffler at 21.7. Dustin Johnson, former winner at 20.9. Justin Thomas, who I think is my pick to win this and has been for a few weeks now.
I think there's a lot of people's picks.
Yeah, Morikawa 20.5, Hovland 20.3, McElroy at 20. Rounds us off for the 20 million golfers. I'll start with you, Mark. At the top of this page in the 20s, who is it that you are hanging your hat on this week?
You could kind of... God, I should get this bit on, record it and play it on repeat. You can make a case for everybody up the top there. You really could. They've all got good course history pretty much. And, Scheffler's just been amazing this season. But like you, Nick, Justin Thomas is number 1 on every type of model I've run. Yeah. Course suitability, general stats, trends and stuff. He's just number 1 in a lot. He hasn't actually got a great course history here, particularly. It's not, definitely not as good as some of the others up there. But we've been saying this for years, that this is his year. And, this year, this is different. It will actually be his year. He's clearly the number 1.
Yeah, I like Justin Thomas there as well. I think he's everything that he's done recently. I think he's had 4 top 10s this season. He's the only part of his game he's really lost strokes in recent tournaments has been his putting, but even that's still been fairly consistent. I just think this is his year this year. I think he's dialed in. It's my pick to win. Jack, who is shining light for you at the top of this?
Yes, boring, really, isn't it? It's Justin Thomas as well. He's popping in my model. He's number 1 in it. Again, the course history it's not great. He did have the good year. He was 4th in 2020. Although I must say as well, with the 2020 version of the Masters, I completely ignore it and take it out of my model completely. They played it in November. The course played totally different to what it plays in April. It was soft. Even the golfers come out and said, like, any rookies that were playing that year, it was unfair for them that it was their first year playing Augusta. It plays completely different. So I actually just removed that completely. And if you look at DJ's course history as well, at the top there before that, he was tied second in 2019. I think that's kind of when DJ was at the height of his powers in 2019 and 2020. He missed the cut after the year he won it when they moved it back to April. He was tied 10th before that. John Ram's a popular one. He first played this course in 2017. He was tied 27th then. And every other year he's been top 10. So, I mean, he is destined to win this at some point. Could it be this year? Yeah, it could be. Has he got the game for it at the minute? I don't really see it because he's losing a lot of strokes around the green. Your putting has to be excellent around Augusta. That's kind of it for me, really, at the top there. Scotty Scheffler's going to be popular, I think, because he's gone to world number one. He's won 3 events this year now. I'm full fade on Rory as well. He missed the cut last year and he missed the cut last week. Looked terrible at the Valero Texas Open. And I think he comes here with too much pressure every year. Like, this is the only major that Rory's never won, and it gets brought up every year. I think there's too much pressure on him now, and he should have won. He should have won this back in 2011. He had a massive collapse on hole 10.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think he will ever win the Masters, and that's weird saying that because he's a fantastic golfer, generational talent. But I don't think he'll ever win this Masters.
Yeah, I was going to come to Rory McIlroy because obviously I think we all had fairly high-ish hopes for him last week as a preparation going into the Masters because he'd started to come into a bit of form, and he goes and misses the cut, which unforgivable really in the field that he was in. Not great preparation coming into this event. I'm with you. I felt like, though we do multi-enter these contests, I dare say I might have a minor exposure to him, but it will be at most 1 or 2 lineups. I think I'm with you, Jack. I think I'm fading Rory this week.
Yep.
There's 4 names in this group of 20 million plus golfers that I'd rather have ahead of him, if I'm being honest.
Those guys below I'd rather have than Rory.
Yeah, I completely agree. Probably about 5 or 6 to be fair. We'll move on then to the guys below. Some of my favourite priced players are in here. We've got Cameron Smith at 19.8. We've got Patrick Cantlay at 19.5, Jordan Spieth 19.3, Xander Schauffele at 19, Brooks Koepka 18.7. If he's on it, that feels way too cheap. Matsuyama 18.7, Zalatoris 18.4, Bryson DeChambeau at 18.2, and rounding us off at the bottom of the page, we've got Daniel Berger at 18. Your number 1 guy, Jack, on your model, or he's up there?
He's actually number 2 in my model, but I'm
number 2.
He has very bad course history around here. If you look, me and Tom actually mentioned it the other day. If you go back and look at Daniel Berger's career, the courses that he has bad course history on stay like that. He never ever performs well on them courses. The courses that he does have good course history on, he normally goes and wins. So there's no, like I've mentioned, this place you need to be good round. You need to have the history around it, and he doesn't have that for me. So he's a big avoid.
Yeah. And at the bottom, last but not least, on page 1, we've got Louis Oosthuizen, who normally finds himself in and amongst it at this event. He's not the last few years. He's not challenged anyway, but he's always there or thereabouts around the sort of 20s. He's quite a few names I like on this page, fellas, but I'll let you do the talking for me. Jack, kick us off.
I'll start at the top. It's Cam Smith. He's going to be very popular this week. Again, coming off that players win, he's 11th in my model. So obviously I've got a ton of stuff within that model. He's 8th on strokes gained on approach. This is over the last 24 rounds, by the way. Strokes gained total, he's 2nd in the field. He's nice. He's green everywhere. He's what you want to see. I do worry with his driving a little bit. I don't think he's the most accurate off the tee. And I know, Mark, you're saying that this is a wide, like a lot of these shots are wide fairways and things like that you're going on to. It's not the case on a lot of the back nine. I can tell you that. The whole 18, for example, the tee shot there, that is not a wide tee shot. That is a daunting tee shot to start with, to end with. So I actually think you do need to be an accurate driver around this place. Now, having said that, there is some holes within the middle of the course that are very wide open, like you say. But I think Cameron Smith's going to be very popular. He's got good course history around here as well. He was tied 2nd in 2020, tied 10th in 2021. He's made every cut. He's come in his debut year here. He was tied 5th in 2018. And what I said about rookies playing here, that's very impressive. So I think he's going to be popular, and I will certainly have a couple of shares of him across my lineups this week.
Yeah, the only area of his game he's losing strokes in at the moment is his dodgy mustache and his dodgy mullet. For me, he's got the worst hair and the worst facial hair on the tour, I think, and that's saying something. One thing I really like about Cameron Smith is when you look back at the players, which I mean was a crazy event in and of itself, but he could not miss with the putter. He was sinking everything, and when you look back at his recent form, he does gain a lot of strokes with his putter, and I think that is even though it's a stat that we say is very variable and we don't tend to feed it into a lot of our models that we do build. I think it is important this week. So yeah, I really like Cameron Smith. Mark, your pick.
Just to go to that, just a quick thing on this driving accuracy. It's actually a negative correlation for success in this course, which I don't think I've seen on any other course so far this year. So I can't explain why that is, but so what that means is that statistically speaking, people who've done well in this course previously, the better their accuracy is, the worse they've done, as it were. I don't know what that means, and that's why someone like Cam Smith should be popular, I think. We can't really ignore Brooks Koepka, can we? Forget,
No.
It's a major. With Brooks, you kind of ignore form coming into it and stuff, don't you? He's fit now.
He's playing well, though.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty well. His major history is just crazy, isn't it? So I think at that sort of price, if you're playing multiple entries, I think you've got to have some exposure to him.
Yeah, he doesn't have... Okay, it's not too bad. Tied 2nd here in 2019, tied 7th in 2020, missed the cut last year. So, yeah.
He was injured last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was actually. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, his major history is just so impressive. He turns up for majors. So, I'm in full agreement with both of you. I think he's been mispriced there. He's one of my favourite plays down there.
Yeah. I think one of my picks on Justin Thomas, I think, is my outright winner. But one of my picks to go and challenge him this week, I think, is Patrick Cantlay. I think at 19.5 as well. I think he could be another steal at that price. His course history is not fantastic. He's had 2 missed cuts here, but he has had a tie 19th, tie 17th. But what stands out for me is in the field, he is ranked 1st in strokes gained par 4 scoring in the last 24 rounds on bent grass as well, might I add, or bent greens. Fantastic around the green. We've not seen him since the players. I think he did miss the cut there, but we've said numerous times that there's not a lot that we're taking away from that event anyway. first in strokes gained putting in this field as well. Patrick Cantlay is just jumping off the screen at me, to be honest, and I think he's one of my picks as well. I will be betting on Patrick Cantlay as well as Justin Thomas. But yeah, I just think he could be the bargain there at 19.5. I know I'm saying bargain. He's not like he's a cheap golfer, but
he was my pick to win it weeks ago. I have major issues with Patrick Cantlay on the East Coast of America. I've done a load of digging into that, and he does not perform well on the East Coast of America. It's true. It's true. It's the true stats. The stats don't lie on it. He's not good on the East Coast of America. He's really good on the West Coast, like really, really good. But you get him over on the East Coast, he's poor. Normally misses cuts.
Interesting. You've opened my eyes to something there, Jack, that I'm going to have to do a deeper dive into.
I will put a tweet out tomorrow morning with all the stats that I've got on that. It's not pretty reading.
Coastal correlation. This is a new stat.
Coastal correlation. Strokes gained coastally.
There must be something in it. There must be something in it that he misses so many cuts on the East Coast, and he normally goes and wins stuff on the West Coast. It's weird. It's weird, but he does.
Before we move on to page 2, is there anyone else at the bottom of this page that you did want to give a shout out to? I know Zalatoris came runner-up last time round. And like I said, Oosthuizen's normally there and thereabouts making the cut. But is there anyone down here that...
Xander, we didn't really mention him, but he rates quite highly within my model. Got very, very good course history around here. But I don't think Xander Schauffele can get over the line. That's my issue with him.
He feels like, I think he's one of the better golfers that hasn't won a major, but it feels like he's had opportunities to do it and hasn't. And is it going to get to that point, much like Sergio Garcia was at that point several years ago before he broke the duck, as it were? Where he just came close time after time after time, but just couldn't quite get over the line. Maybe. I think to win a major, you've got to have. It does start becoming a bit of a mental thing. I think golf's a mental game anyway. Most of the battle in golf is between your ears, and I think it can, if he keeps falling at the final hurdle in these majors, I think it will take its toll on him over his career. I do hope he wins a major. I do hope we see that. But yeah, I'm with you, Jack. I bet him quite a few times when he came close in previous majors, and he's getting to that point now where until I see him actually win one, I'm not convinced he can win one.
It doesn't mean he's a bad golfer, but if you he's another one. If you go back and look at where he has won events, they've all been no cuts. There's been no cuts on them events.
Yeah.
So there's something in it.
Yeah. Page 2 then, so we've got Shane Lowry, who we all like. We've already mentioned him on the show. We've got Sam Burns, Taylor Gooch, Sung Jae Im, Adam Scott. I'm not even going to say the next name because we're going to come back to him. Tony Finau, who is ranking high on my model, and I've still not done the dive into him yet, but I really need to because I don't know why that's happening and I refuse to play Tony Finau, but it looks like I might have to this week. Joaquin Niemann, I'll cut the line there and then we'll move on to the second part and then we'll come back to the main name on this second page. So top half of page 2, fellas, ignoring the obvious name. Who do we like up here? Jack.
I mean, Finau's popping on my model as well. I think that's a very, very risky play. I think the reason he's popping is probably course history. He does have very good course history around here. Yeah, 2 top 10s. 3 top 10 performances here, and a tied 38th performance in 2020. That one, so we get rid of that one completely anyway. That's the reason he's popping, nothing else. Stat wise, he's 15th in the field on strokes gained on approach. So that you like to see. I don't know. I'm going to find it very hard to get to Tony Finau. My brain's going to tell me not to. Can I see him making the cut? Yeah, and I can see him making the cut on what we spoke about earlier in this podcast about there only being 20 other golfers that are going to miss it outside of them aging veterans and the amateurs. So yeah, I could see him making the cut. But my favourite play up there is probably Adam Scott. I think it's just a safe play. Good course history around here. Doesn't particularly pop within the model, but it's all green, so you like to see that. He's in my model. He's 29th, so he's middle of the pack. It's nothing exciting. The course history around here, 9th, 32nd. He's like every year since he's won it, he's like made the cut. So
steady Eddie.
Steady Eddie. It's not exciting. It's not an exciting play at all, but it's a play, isn't it, Mark?
He's on my list as well. He's on my list of people to talk about as well. So
yeah,
I do like it, to be honest with you. I think it might be a sentimental pick a little bit. I just, you know, when you watch the Masters coverage and they sort of show the bottom right hand side of the screen, you have the top 5 sort of thing at the bottom right there and stuff. You always see it, and you just Adam Scott's name just. You just imagine it's there on a Sunday, don't you, and stuff. It's like, I think it's sentimental. I really like Joaquin Niemann here. I think he's my favourite play here. I've actually bet him as well. He won at the Genesis 5 weeks ago, which is a comparable course. He's 5th in weighted strokes gained tee to green in the last 16 rounds, and he's 3rd in my course suitability model. So I think at that price for 16.4 million, I just think it's a bargain.
I think Joaquin Niemann as well. Just to go back to the question that we had at the start, I don't know if it came on Discord or Twitter, but the All Nations team, I think he's an obvious one if you were throwing that into an ACCA.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Who would be your top American? We've mentioned quite a few Americans already. Who would be your top American? JT or Scheffler?
I think I'd throw JT in there. Yeah, I think I'd have to.
JT, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you're putting an ACCA together there of nations, then you got Hideki there and Joaquin Niemann, Shane Lowry from Ireland.
I'm not playing Hideki.
You've got to fill the countries out. The countries have got to be there. Can't all be Americans. I mean, just coming back to Tony Finau. I like the course history I get, but what I'm struggling with is he does rank quite high in the other key areas for me. Par 4 strokes gained last 24 rounds. He's 6th in the last 24 rounds, and I've narrowed this down to bent grass as well. He's 7th tee to green. He's 7th total strokes gained. He's 11th off the tee. He's 11th on his approach. His putting lets him down. But then when I look at his tournament finishes, I just don't get it. I don't understand why he is so high, because he's had such a disappointing season so far. His highest finish was actually the Century, 19th. Other than that, we've had 3 miscuts and 20, 30s, 40th place finish. I just don't get it. But maybe the course history is feeding into that a little bit as well, possibly.
He was on my in my matchups article this week. There's Niemann versus Finau, and I've written in there. It's on the FanTeam blog right now. I just don't trust Tony Finau, and I kind of would have picked anybody against him. On the matchups and stuff. It just happened to be Niemann, who I think is really good anyway. Yeah. I just feel I just don't trust him at the moment.
Tyrell Hatton, talk about trust. We've got the petulant man-child that is Tyrell Hatton. I really like Tyrell Hatton's game, but if you go in there this week, and he's in good form, but he's one golfer where a bad hole can literally lead to a bad round. He does seem to sort of grieve on a bad hole. And you just can't afford that kind of mentality around this place, I don't think. Abraham Answer, 15.8. We've spoke about our concerns about him. Paul Casey, 15.7. Former winner Sergio Garcia, 15.6. We've got Corey Connors and Russell Henley, both at 15.4. Fitzpatrick and Fleetwood both at 15.3. Suspect Fitzpatrick might be quite highly on this week at that price. Webb Simpson at 15.2, we've brought in on our season long. So, bottom end of this page, Mark.
Yeah, I think this is the page I like the least. I think especially this bottom half. Nobody I'm particularly enamoured with. I'm sure they're going to end up. When we build lineups, I'm sure we're going to end up here because we always do, don't we? At the bottom of the second page for that last place. So there's nobody there's nobody I like any more than anybody else. To be perfectly honest with you, there. Which
I like
is a rubbish answer, but there you go.
I like Rory Connors. Last 2 appearances here, he's had 2 top 10 finishes. He ranks about 19th. Yeah, he's 19th within my model. It's nothing exciting again, but everything's green, so that's what we like to see. Webb Simpson's another one. I know there's the injury concern, but the last 4 times he's been to Augusta National, he's had 4 top 20 finishes. He's not really popping in the model, but that's only because we've had loads of withdrawals, things like that. I mean, he's like 46th within my model, but I think you have to take into account the course history around here for Webb Simpson. And I actually built a really balanced team yesterday on Twitter, and he was my underdog. I don't mind that as an underdog.
No, I think that's a really good underdog pick. Strong underdog pick at that. There is a name we've omitted from this list so far, so let's go back there. The greatest of all time, I think it's fair to say. Tiger Woods looks like he's playing. He said he will make a final decision tomorrow, but as of today, he is playing. Tiger Woods, is there any chance at all that Tiger Woods comes out and does the unthinkable here?
No, but I'm going to bet him because it's Tiger Woods, and whenever you can get Tiger Woods at odds of like 50-1, just bet him. Like the year he won in 2019, he was ridiculous odds. I don't think he was quite as high as that, but I think he was about 33-1 or something like that. It's ridiculous odds. He's the greatest player ever, and what he done in 2019, just being here this week, is just brilliant in itself. If he makes the cut, great. But there's 2 golf courses that Tiger can win on in the world at the age he is, with the injuries that he has. Augusta National is one of those golf courses. He's won around this golf course 5 times. He's won that green jacket 5 times. Luckily for him, the other golf course that he can win on is at the Open this year, St Andrews. So there's the 2 golf courses he can win on. We both get this year. I won't play him in DFS. I think it'll be brilliant if he makes the cut. But my God, I would never write him off on winning.
I think I'm in the same boat as you on him. I think because of the odds, I think you'd be silly not to just put a couple of quid there and you just never know in sport. No, you never know. No. But in terms of on the DFS side, any exposure is going to be very, very capped there. They might have him in the odd lineup here and there, but I don't think he's a bad play, actually, to be fair, in DFS, because you'd probably bet him to make the cut.
Yeah.
I fancy him to make the cut, at the very least. So
he's got the knowledge. He has the knowledge to go around this. He's won on this golf course 5 times. It's not easy to do that. Yeah. No, not many people have won this twice, and Tiger's won it 5 times. He knows his way around. So you're a brave man if you write him off. But for DFS, I think you have to leave him alone.
Yeah. Page 3. We'll go through this page, and then I think it's just the odd spot here and there from the other pages if we're going down that low. But I think because of the budget that we've got this week, I don't think we necessarily need to when we're lineup building. We've got Justin Rose, Billy Horschel, Mike Leitchman, Patrick Reed, Bubba Watson, former winner. Jason Kokrak, Max Homer. I'm very underprepared for this part of the show, but we've got Siwoo Kim. There we go. Seamus Power, Robert McIntyre, Gary Woodland had a good tournament last week. Cameron Young, the rant of the show, Luke List. We've got Molinari, we've got Kevin Na, we've got Westwood, we've got Kisner to round off page 3. Jack, talk me through your picks of page 3.
I think Cameron Young and Kisner are going to be very popular on this page. I don't really like Cameron Young as much. Has never ever played here, so I'm very wary. And I don't really like Kisner for this course either. He's missed the cut the last time. 2 times he's been here. But my favourite play on this page, we've already mentioned him, is Justin Rose. I don't care what form he has coming into this event. When someone has come here 17 times and made 16 cuts, I'm all over it. I'm happy to put him in. He's had a number of second place finishes here. The last one actually come back in 2017 when he lost to Sergio in the playoff that year. I actually do not care. Sometimes you just have to get rid of the stats completely and just go with what you know. And Justin Rose knows this golf course, so I'm happy to play him.
Yeah,
I like that. I like Justin Rose. Mark?
Yeah, I think it feels like a safe bet, doesn't he? Like than Adam Scott. That'd be the ultimate mare lineup. I like Cam Young and Robin McIntyre, but my favourite, and I think he's going to end up being the underdog on most of my teams, is Max Homer, 14.4 million. He's 5th in weighted strokes gains on approach in the last 16 rounds. He's got generally good overall stats, green most places. His last 3 times out, he's been 35th, 13th, and 17th, which, doesn't sound that impressive, but he's only 14.4 million. He has played here once last year where he did miss the cut, but,
He's played it twice. Played it in 2020 as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
Missed the
We're
cut
not counting
as well.
that, though.
No, but he missed the cut. Well, he missed the cut in easier conditions.
Yeah. No, I think he's going to be a good underdog this week. Definitely.
There's 3 golfers that are grouped together on this page that have pretty good course history, and by pretty good, one has won it twice, another's won it before, and then the other one has had some pretty high finishes here. His most recent year tied 5th. The 3 that I'm referring to are Mike Leitchman, Patrick Reed, Bubba Watson. Is there any interest at all in former Masters winners here? And Mike Leitchman, who, as I said, he's had a couple of missed cuts here in the first few years that he played here, but he has had a 4th, a 5th, a 9th, and a 13th here. So he has got some impressive history at this course.
Didn't really say it at the start of the pod, actually. There is a little trend here with left-handed players around Augusta. It suits left-handers better than it does right-handers. Probably the reason that Bubba's won this twice. I don't really have any interest in Bubba. I think he's just too wayward. Like, I have to see it before I can believe it with him. And for me, he's just way too wayward. Patrick Reed, he's just been very out of sorts. I think he's got 3 missed cuts on the year already. I believe he made the players cut, but he obviously on the right side of the draw there. Leitchman would be my favourite out of the 3. I don't mind Leitchman.
Yeah, Reed has since Century really he's not been in great form at all. No. But Leitchman's course history is quite interesting because, like I said, it's only really in his early career that he struggled here. Since then, he's had some really good finishes. But I just thought it was an interesting grouping that of golfers because they're all of similar price, and you've got a couple there that have won it previously. And obviously, Leitchman has come close a few times as well. So if nostalgia is what's building your lineups this week, then that's a good group of players to maybe look at cheap price. You've got a really good underdog there again. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Watson and Reed feel quite difficult to trust at the moment. Before...
just so we've gone on that lefty thing, Robert McIntyre's a lefty at 14 million as well. He came 12th last year. So I think he's he's another one you might want to look at. He's on my list.
Yeah.
I had quite a few players actually where I've just marked next to their names. Haven't mentioned them all. Great course history, not in great form though. Mark Leitchman is just another one of them, isn't
he? Yeah. He's not played the course before, but he was coming out quite a bit on some of my key stats. Was Seamus Power. Obviously, there's no course history there, which is the concern for him, I suppose. But ranks 8th in par 4 scoring, strokes gained, 4th strokes gained around the green. His par 5 scoring is 21st, and in terms of his actual total strokes gained, he's 8th, also 10th in strokes gained with the putter as well. So despite there being no course history there, Seamus Power was one that jumped out for me on this page as a potentially underpriced player. But the worry is, of course, he's not played here before.
It's a really good page, that page 3.
Yep.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Page 2.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of page 3. So
it's almost like we practiced it, Nick.
Yeah. I don't think because of the funds we've got, I don't really think we need to go lower than that. There was a few names down here that did catch my eye though. Thomas Peters was one that came out quite high on my model on page 4.
Yeah, the two at the top are quite high on mine, Seabez and Brian Harman. Brian Harman's got okay course history here as well, so they're fairly high in it. Cameron Champ, actually, he's got decent course history here, but he is in bad form at the minute, so I think I'd be staying clear of Cameron Champ.
Yeah. Van Rooyen was another one that popped up on mine quite a bit when I was playing around with the numbers, as was Varner. But other than that, are we all in agreement that we're probably not venturing this low down this week at this event?
Agreed.
Yeah. I think then in that case we'll start building lineups, fellas. So I think we'll put 3 lineups together. We'll go top heavy. We'll go with a bit of we'll go with a bit of balance, and then we'll see where we go from there with a high priced underdog maybe. I think we're all in agreement, Justin Thomas. So if we throw Justin Thomas in, if we're going to build a bit of a stars and scrubs here, do we maybe try and build a bit of a lineup with John Rahm in there or Scotty Scheffler maybe?
No. What about if we put Cam Smith in this lineup?
All right, okay. So throw Cam Smith in there.
And then go down to page 3, I would say.
We like McIntyre.
I don't, but yeah, you two do.
Cam Young. We had Cam Young as well. I don't know about you, Nick, but me and Jack like Cam Young as well.
I don't.
Oh, is it? I thought it was you.
I don't like Cameron Young because he's got no course history here at all.
Oh, okay.
He's playing well. I just no. It's a no for me.
Luke List it is then.
Yeah, Luke List is coming back in. Justin Rose, we had on this page, didn't we, at 15.1, which gives us 44.5, which means
need someone cheaper.
We're going to need someone cheaper, aren't we? So we're going to have to come down the page. McIntyre could be going in here, Jack.
I would prefer to play Luke List.
Wow, there's a bold call.
You have not just said that.
Robert McIntyre has been awful this year. Absolutely awful.
Though I can't believe those words just came out of your mouth. I honestly can't. I might snip this part of the show and just put that on my Twitter feed. Just that bit. Might even build it into the intro next week.
Oh yeah, actually though, with List though, he hasn't played this course, has he? Till since do you know the last time he played this course, 2005, when he made his debut on tour. That's the last time Luke List played the Masters. So yeah, put Bobby Mack in.
Bobby McIntyre goes
in. I don't think he's as bad as you think he has been. He's got a T13, a T19.
I watched a lot of his European tour to start the year, and he was very, very poor.
Yeah, but I think he turned it around a bit. Judging by this,
which gives us 30.5, which it puts us back really on the same page. So I don't know whether
against going down to the next page and putting.
I was going to say
putting Seabez in.
So if we throw in Seabez, which gives us 17.1, let's start moving back up the pages here. So we can actually get back onto page
Page
2,
two.
which we've not been on.
Tiger Woods.
Adam Scott,
It's got. It's got.
Adam
I would
Scott on
say
Neiman.
Neiman. It's
Yeah.
Neiman in this lineup
Neiman,
for
I
me.
think we can probably upgrade somebody 0.7. So maybe get rid of Bobby
Seabez?
Mack. Get rid of Bobby Mack if you want.
No, I'd rather keep him in now. I'd rather get rid of Seabez.
The issue is if we get rid of Seabez, I mean we've got
You'll have
0.7.
14.1 to spend.
So we can't really go much. There isn't really that much on offer, I suppose, is there?
No. Well,
You can leave money on the table. You don't have to spend it all, do you?
Yeah, exactly. So I suppose that's fairly stars and scrubbish because we don't really want to be going down to Seabez if we can help it. So I mean, just before we do move on, the captain of that lineup, we've got to go Justin Thomas, surely.
I'd enter it twice and do a Cam
And go
Smith
with
one
Smith.
as well.
Yeah.
Actually, I might enter that 3 times and do a Neiman one.
Yeah.
I'd enter it 5. do a Rose and a McIntyre. Why not?
Someone has to go there.
Yeah. Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do a train?
Oh no way!
You
They're
like
evil
train?
trains, evil things.
Let's go with a bit of a balanced line. So I think if we're doing balance, if we move down the list a little bit, should we do a Brooks Koepka line?
Yeah, let's do Brooks.
Yeah, Brooksy.
Brooks Koepka. I don't know. Maybe we do another Cam Smith or Cantlay on there. I know you're not a big Cantlay fan here, Jack, with his East Coastal form.
Seriously, I'm going to put a tweet out tomorrow with that. You'll be surprised.
Let's attack some of these on page 2 then and see where we get to.
What about down the bottom? Get like Connors in. We like Connors, didn't we?
Yeah, so we got Corey
And
Connors
we all like Lowry, didn't we, as well?
Yep.
Yeah, I like Lowry. We all mentioned Adam Scott as well as a bit of a steady Eddie here. So we got 31.5. So we're definitely we're in the money here. We could potentially go with a Webb Simpson underdog team here for balance.
Yep.
Which would give us enough to work our way up to.
I don't have any interest in Hatton. I think he's too volatile for Augusta, personally. Answers worries. Casey's he withdrew from the match play, didn't he? So he's a worry. Garcia, I'd play Fitzpatrick in that. And I know you're leaving money on the table, but I don't really care about leaving money on the table, to be honest.
Yeah, if we did, I mean, it doesn't really get us anywhere. That's the thing, because
you could upgrade Connors to Neiman if you want. Who to me is a big jump, but I don't know if it is for you guys or not.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
I mean, that is a really good lineup, to be fair. That could be the winning lineup.
Could have put Finau in instead. I take it your captain Brooks in that.
Yeah, I think this is one of them lineups where I'd probably enter it a couple of times, to be fair.
That generally could be an enter 5 times lineup.
Yeah.
Be really good.
And then I think we'll build one more.
Can we do a Rahm and Scheffler? Is it even viable?
Oh, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, that will be tough.
Is that too much? Is that too much for you?
We're going to have to go down to like page 4. Peters, we didn't mind Peters, did we?
I don't mind Peters down here, so we could have Peters in as an underdog potentially.
He's volatile, isn't he? Like, Hoagie was popping in my model, but he's got no history around this place. Brian Harmon was doing okay in the model.
What about Ryan Palmer, maybe?
I think I'd rather play one of the other, Harmon or Bez, to be honest.
Bez. We're down to just Bez. Yeah, he's not in. I mean, he's not got the worst course history here, but he's had quite a few missed cuts, Ryan Palmer. I'm going to keep it at Peters and just see where we can take this lineup from here, because inevitably our page 4 guy is going to be an underdog. So let's make our way back to page 3. Leitchman, maybe? I know you said you don't mind Leitchman here, Jack.
Leitchman.
Leitchman, which means we are going to probably have to go.
No, I don't think that's going to work, is it?
Oh, we could go at we could. It will work because we've got 28.3. We'd just have to go bottom end here. We'd have to pick a couple from the bottom end here. So,
well, you like Cameron Young, so why don't you put Cameron Young in this lineup?
We put a Cameron Young in. It takes us up to Siwoo.
Woo! Let's put Siwoo in, please.
So that's not too.
I don't hate it. Mark hates it.
I like 3 players in there. No, maybe 4. I like Leitchman.
I could see 4 players missing the cut in that lineup quite easily.
Yeah, that quite easily could happen, to be fair. Nobody fancy Homer, said Dan Hughes, to be fair.
His course history around here, Dan, is awful.
I fancy him, Dan. He's going to be an underdog in a few of my teams.
Here's one. Luke List lives on this course, plays it multiple times a year. Where has this Luke List love been in previous weeks? Why are all the Luke List fans suddenly popping up at the Masters? Where have you all been?
You've enabled them. Like, you're their leader.
This fan club has been going on since Century. Like, there's no memberships have passed. You can't all just start jumping on the bandwagon.
He lives in Augusta, Georgia. I don't think he lives on the course. But I'm
glad you clarified that, Jack, just before we sign off.
Yeah, I just it's a very what's the word? It's not one of them golf courses you can just rock up to and play. It's a very exclusive club. Let's put it that way.
I doubt he meant he lives in like a bunker.
Actually living in the bunker.
Yeah.
I know what he meant. Thank you, Ray. It was a very insightful comment. But I still don't care.
By the way, just a quick thing on Dan's comment about Homer. Remember, Dan last week mentioned Nate Lashley, and we all dismissed it.
Yeah, I'm dismissing Homer on the course history.
So I think this is a good sign for playing Homer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, that rounds us off, fellas. That's our longest show of the season so far, but rightly so. It is the Masters after all. Any parting comments from you both?
No, I just
you're both stumped there, aren't you?
Well, I can't wait for tomorrow for the par 3 contest. I am definitely going to be watching that. I love the par 3 contest. It's a good laugh. And then the main event on Thursday.
The person who wins the par 3 contest doesn't win the main.
Does not win. Yeah, I read the stat on that it's I say it's never happened, or it's happened once in history or something like that. So do not take much from it.
Tony Finau actually broke his leg on the par 3 contest because he got a hole in one and over celebrated. Everyone was on him that week as well.
I feel that's a more correlative statistic than coastal correlation.
Wait, I'm going to put a tweet out tomorrow, and you will be stunned by it. I'm telling you, there is something about it that he does not play well on the east coast of America.
And I look forward to Fantasy National adding it in as a new strokes gained
coastal.
I'm going to get on the case with Pat Mayo. I'm going to tell him I want coastal strokes gained metric within it, please. Thank you.
Before we do shoot off, Jack, just one more time for anyone who missed out earlier, the Fantasy National offer that we've got.
Yeah, well, you can see it on the bottom of the screen there. Just head over to fantasynational.com /FanTeam, and you will get 20% off any of their packages. All the stats we've used tonight have come from there.
Yeah. Signing us off then, fellas. Drivers for show, irons for green jackets this week. We'll see you next week.